I'm always on the lookout for a pack that can act as a chameleon with the ability to adapt and blend in to different environments and different requirements. And I may have just found the king of this concept with the pack riding on my back right here. The Mystery Ranch Blitz 30-liter pack. Now, for the past few months, I've been living out of this pack. Using it as a daily EDC for trips up the mountains with the family, just hanging out, having a good time in mountain towns, but also carrying my laptop, sketch pad, and my everyday essentials. But then loading it up and hitting the trail like I have today with over 25 pounds in this pack and going up in elevation, carrying camera equipment, tripods, gear I'm testing, and then going miles and miles into the woods. Now, this pack has some big shoes to fill because prior to this, the pack that kind of was my one and done for the last few years was the Mystery Ranch 2-day assault pack, which brings a lot to the table. So make sure to stick around to the end because I will be comparing it to that pack. And you may be saying to yourself, well, wait a second, I thought Mystery Ranch was dead, having been absorbed into the Yeti brand. Well, that's not entirely accurate. And I also want to give you some food for thought on why I didn't opt for the larger Blitz 35 and whether or not that might actually be the better pack for you. So guys, we're going to have a blast today. If you're new to the channel, welcome. This is Gideonstactical. Let's dive in and have some fun. Now, I want to kick things off with what makes Mystery Ranch really stand out for me. I bought my first Mystery Ranch pack 7 years ago. It was the Scree 32. And immediately, having used and tested probably 200 packs at this point, I knew right away there was something special with the design because of the Yoke system. Still to this day, 7 years later, I have yet to run into a pack that feels so organic and ergonomic on my back. That is partly due to the rigid polymer removable backer that they have, and that is actually how you adjust the pack with its little sliding tier system back and forth. You break the Velcro, you line it up on the line where you want it, and then it's adjusted. Even the padding, the way that the ergonomics of the shoulder straps really work and flow together. It's all a singular yoke piece with load lifters. This particular model has a piece of polymer that is flexible up in the shoulder strap right where the load bearing has to happen, which adds to its load bearing capability. That is the other aspect. They are one of the best load bearing packs I've ever found. Now, if you're a person who carries 5-10 pounds max ever in your pack, it's not maybe necessary. But if you're like me and you're somebody who carries a lot of gear and equipment for whatever activity you do, that is a game changer. So many other packs I own will start to bite in. You realize it's there. That is not the case with a Mystery Ranch pack. I have about 25 pounds today with this pack, and I forget that's even on me. I have to remind myself as I'm filming, like, you have a pack on, dude. Like, that's how well it is contouring to my body and bearing the load. Now, with that said, it comes with a removable, and I have it removed. That's usually how I carry this pack. Just nylon strap hip belt. Now, the hip belt is not load bearing. It's really just to kind of cinch it down, keep it on your person. I don't really find value in that unless I was like running with this pack. So it's in there and I can attach it if needed, but it's not really doing a whole lot for me personally. The Blitz 35, not only being 5 liters larger, does have a dedicated load-bearing hip belt. It does have a top pouch pocket that I believe is removable, but it has MOLLE on it. It is a lot bulkier. It's a lot bigger. It looks a lot more tactical. It's basically a completely different pack. The zippers are different. Everything about it is really different, and really to me looks like a tactical pack, ideal for all-day hikes, and that's all you're really using it for. Firefighters, hunters, or like troops. That's really where I see that bag fitting in, and why I did not opt for that, because I wanted the gray man low profile of no MOLLE and gray like low profile options that this has, and a more compact size for daily use, but still being big enough that I can carry all of my daily equipment to be out here hiking for a day and not feel like it's too small a pack. Now, I think it's a really smart move what they decided to do with this model, opting to cut off MOLLE and give 3 exterior pockets with different layouts and different sizes. They actually call it their ABC pocket layout, with a top pocket, which can easily fit like a full-size survival kit, med kit. You could put snacks, beanies, gloves, stuff in there, and that's kind of right on top of the main mouth compartment. Then you go down one, and that's where you have like your key keeper, and I really love their little carabiner key keeper, and a couple little sleeves there that you can put a few small items and organize out if you wish. And then finally, they have kind of a elongated pocket, which you could easily build out a small EDC toolkit or a survival toolkit. So I could put like a multi-tool and a flashlight and a IFAK in there and have all of those supplies, and then I can designate each pocket for different scenarios, different situations. And now, as we're exploring the adaptability of this pack, I'm sure you guys are curious about this water system and how it also can be very adaptable. Well, it's the sponsor of today's video, which is Hardside Hydration. And I've been using these things for going on about 5 years now. And the reason that they connect with me and they're so adaptable is that you get the hands-free straw and hose that you would expect from, say, a water bladder, hydration bladder. But those things are cumbersome, they can leak, you have to store them inside the bag, taking up space, and they're a nightmare to store, dry, and clean. This just attaches to your favorite rigid water bottle, in this case, a 48-ounce Nalgene, and I happen to have one of their insulation sleeves to help kind of keep the water a little cooler. And if you want to filter water on the go, this is about the fastest way I've found with their nano filter. It just attaches to the bottom of the original swig rig, you scoop up your dirty water, put the filter inside, and start drinking. And it's that easy to use any water source to stay hydrated. So guys, there's tons to explore over there. I have my exclusive link and promo code, which will take 10% off your purchase site-wide. So I invite you guys to check out Hardside Hydration and everything that they're bringing to the table so that you can stay hydrated when you're out exploring and having adventures. Now, when I'm looking at a pack to be a chameleon for me to be able to adapt and modify itself for different applications, I'm always looking for it to have 2 exterior water bottle pockets and compression straps. And this actually has both, with large elastic band compartment for the water bottles that can easily handle a 3.5-inch Nalgene like I'm using with that Hardside. And it has a drain grommet on the bottom as well, but that doubles with the side compression straps to not only, like cinch down the pack if I have very minimal stuff in there, but I can strap larger, tall items, say like a fly rod. In my case, it would be like usually a tripod. I can put it in that pocket and then use the compression strap, and that thing ain't going anywhere. So that's really nice to see. There are 2 compression straps on the bottom as well. That allows you to do potentially a bedroll, a tarp, a large jacket, or again, cinch the whole pack down and make it really flat and slim if there's not a lot of gear in it. Now, there's actually a lot of organization inside the pack as well. And those compression straps act as kind of a load maker. You can unzip the 2 main zippers and leave the compression straps closed and fillet it open about a third of the way. And that makes it like a top loading pack, like just your generic, off the rack backpack. Then you can remove the 2 and disconnect the 2 compression straps, and now you can fillet this thing open into a full horseshoe, complete open organization. It really allows you to pack it out how you want. And that's where they've added a hook and loop, so it's got Velcro but also cutouts for Pals webbing backer, so you can actually lash like rip away med kits, little organizational pieces inside. Then you have 2 stuff pockets on either side, which will easily accommodate another water bottle, Nalgene. I can stuff my full-size med kit in there, so I just know exactly where it is. Then on the back of the pack, we have 2 sleeves. One is set up for, say, like a large notepad or tablet, so you can slide that right in there. Then the larger compartment is a 2-in-1 laptop and water bladder compartment. So it does have a hanger for a water bladder that you can hang in there. 3-liter should easily fit without issue. The floor floats, so if you had a laptop in there and you dropped it or kind of put it hard down on the ground, it gives some protection for that. I'll try to annotate in what size laptop. I don't think it was on the site. I'll try and give measurements if I can. And then there is a side zipper. And that side zipper gives you quick access to those pieces of gear and equipment, but it also acts as the port for your hose for your water bladder. So that's where your water bladder hose would come out and then onto your shoulder. Now they're using YKK AquaGuard zippers on every single pocket on this pack, which are super high quality and are going to fight off rain and moisture, keeping the things inside those compartments nice and dry. These are built out of Cordura fabric, and if you've never owned a Mystery Ranch pack, they are very high quality in their build. Every single aspect, piece of material is really high-end build quality. Now you're going to pay for that, and we might as well just talk about that briefly before we get to some of the other details. Now, I hit up Mystery Ranch. I said, hey, I have owned several of your packs. I'd like to see what this can do. And they were willing to send me the sample. Normally these are going to go for about $290 last I checked. So a little under $300. And that will be something also going back to that idea of like a chameleon. When you're looking at this layout, be considering. You will have to decide, would it make more sense to spend like $100 on 3 separate packs, which are none of them are going to probably have the type of layout, build quality that this has, or would it be better to have less packs and just go with one? I'm not saying that's a right or wrong decision. You need to make that choice. Now I'll have affiliate links over here to not only Mystery Ranch, but several other distributors, that I partner with that carry this pack so that you could take a look at it. So if it makes sense for you, or if the 2-day that we're about to get to, or the Blitz 35 that I just discussed makes sense, always appreciate when you check them out through those hyperlinks. Okay, but now how does it stack up to my beloved 2-day assault pack, which has really been what this was till this moment? And what maybe is different and you need to know? Well, the 2-day assault pack, the 2 drawbacks I've always had with it is that it does look more tactical. So if that doesn't bother you, no problem. But if you're looking for that kind of low profile, gray man, less attention, you're going to gain more attention with the assault pack, just the way it is. That's partly due to the color combos, but also to the molly on the exterior. Now, if you like lashing things with molly, that's going to have it. This is not. The other aspect really is the Y zipper. The Y zipper is cool. It's unique. It does give you access, but I've always found, especially with like my large camera case, I'm always kind of fighting with it to get it out. Whereas this, with its horseshoe complete filleting, is just an easier loading system for me personally. Now, on the flip side, the 2-day assault pack is a little bit more compact. This is a little bit bigger, definitely on the large size for an EDC everyday pack. So it's a little smaller. It will be a little bit more inexpensive as well, by about $30. I think they usually go for about $250. Still same build quality, same materials, same like hip belt, yoke, everything's identical. Just the layout is kind of different, and you'll have to determine which one makes more sense. Mystery Ranch still exists. Yeti, from my understanding, absorbed all of like the outdoor hiking and all that stuff, but Mystery Ranch is still producing packs and still exists and will continue to exist for the foreseeable future with some of their tactical packs, with some of their hunting packs, and their firefighter line. So this falls into, along with the 2-day assault pack, into their tactical lineup. So it is still being produced. They're coming out with new colors. That is pretty impressive. And I'm glad to see that it's not just getting totally absorbed into the Yeti lineup, and we can still get some of these beloved packs. When we wrap it all up, if you were to come to me and you're like, dude, I don't want to have multiple packs. I just want one pack to really get a plethora of stuff done to work as my chameleon bag. I think this one takes the cake. And I would highly recommend it. But I want to know from you guys, what's your take? What's your thoughts? Maybe which model, aside from this, makes sense. And if you guys have any questions, I'll do my best to answer them. I do invite you to subscribe, check out the next video popping up. And until next time, always remember to stay equipped, stay prepared, and I'll see you out there.